So today I'm going to call an API from Python using command line tools, including Vim, Tmux, and that's probably all. But let's get started. This is going to be very quick and easy. I will show you how to do this in a no-fuss manner. So first thing that I'm going to do is run my terminal multiplier Tmux. What Tmux does is lets me have multiple frames within my terminal. This is a lot simpler, I suppose, to switch between contexts within a single window. The way that it works is once I run Tmux, I just get another terminal. Well, okay, big deal. What's the big deal? Once I'm here, I can really easily split my screen into multiple frames like that. To do this, you hit Command B or Control B and then a % sign to split vertically and exit, or a double quote to split horizontally like this. And in addition to that, I can resize these frames really easily. I press Control, I hold Control, I hit B, and then while continuing to hold Control, I can press the up and down arrow to resize the frame. There's a lot of commands here and things you can do with terminal multiplier that will give you more power, I suppose, but being able to add 2 frames and resize them is fantastic. What I generally would like to do here is I run VI from the top panel, and then I can easily run my programs from down here. So if I make a program here that says hello world and I save it, first time I save a file in VI, I need to give it a file name or call an API. So I'm going to call this api.py. And then down here, if I run Python -m API, it'll run my program. It's doing that through -m means run the module, and API is the name of the module because the file is called API. You can even see that green bar changing to indicate whether I'm the left will indicate that the top panel is in focus, and the right would indicate that the bottom panel is in focus. So today what I'm going to do is call an API from AlphaVantage. AlphaVantage is a stock and equity API company, I suppose you would say. It will you can call the API to get stock quotes of either daily quotes or intraday quotes, and use that for your financial fintech company that's doing stock predictions and so forth. To do that, we're going to use the Python requests library, which is the simplest way to call URLs, post and get content from URLs in Python, and we're going to pass an API key to the API. So let's get started. First thing to do will be to import the requests library, and let's just keep this here so that we can verify that our program works. And I'll very quickly press from up here, I will press escape :W, that'll save my file, and then I'll press Control B to go down to the other tab, and then I'll press up to go to the previous command, and I'll run my command. We could also have something that watched for changed files and automatically rerun the program, but I think this is fine. But your fingers can be very quick, and this is one of the reasons that command line tools are great. Your fingers are very quick at repeating patterns. So requests is as simple as, there's a few operations here. There's requests, get, post, put, all of your basic HTTP commands. Google.com. Let's just verify that we can call a URL like that. And we'll say response, and then we'll print the response. Okay, so you can see a 200 there. And if we look at the, what am I trying to say? If we look at the methods on that object, we'll see that the type of object that comes back from the requests.get is a, well, we can also look at the actual type. It is a requests model response, and the response has, these are all of the properties and methods on that object. This is an instance of a response, and these are all the properties and methods. So properties are just values, and methods are functions that are attached to an object. Python doesn't easily tell me which ones are methods and which ones are properties. It doesn't really matter. We can figure that out. If we go up to, we also have the ability, I mean, one of the nice things about Python is all this metadata that's built into the tool. The help function actually does the same thing. Well, that doesn't do the same thing, but it prints, rather than just listing the things, it prints all of the properties and methods as documentation, essentially. So I can see here that, what's something interesting? JSON is an interesting one. JSON returns the JSON encoded content of a response, which is probably exactly what we would like to do, but this won't be a JSON response because this is just going to be from when we go to the URL google.com and get the content, it's going to be HTML. You can see here that some of this is JavaScript, some of this is more JavaScript here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that a lot of these are XML, HTML tags, greater than and less than signs. And this search was removed from your search history. Google search, I can see some things here that's obviously a web page. Or let's just assume that it's a web page if you don't believe me. What we really want to do here is call the AlphaVantage API. And I've gone to the URL, it's alphavantage.co. I don't work for them. I'm not getting any compensation for collaborating with AlphaVantage. I just think that it's a nice, simple and stable and reliable API, and it's a nice, interesting use case to work with. If I call the API that they give me like this is on the sample page. I'll put the link. Oops, there you go. There's the link. Basically, you pass a type of query you want to run here, and you pass the name of the symbol, which generally in finance is the stock code, and then the API key here. And when I do a get on that URL, there's the data. Oh, well, that was easy. It's just a big blob of stuff. So instead of just spitting out content like that, let's look at what the how that's structured, I suppose. This should be JSON. So if we say print it as JSON, it's saying, oh, that's a bound method on the response object. Response.json is a bound method, which means it's a method that sits on top of this response object. Why is Python telling me that? Because it's telling me that, hey, this is a method. If you want the method to execute and to give you some values, you need to put the parentheses at the end, which actually evaluates the method. And now if I run this, it should convert all that to JSON. So what's the difference between this and the content? This is a structured it's not just a set of text. These are actually structured Python object. The braces are dictionaries. So if we put this into a variable here, we should be able to say, if we print the content, we can print the content keys. And let's just go that up there so we can see a little bit more of this. So the content is this big dictionary, and if we say the keys, oh, we've got another method warning. So keys is not a property, it's a method. And if we run that again, the keys are here, dictionary keys, metadata, and time series daily. I wonder if time series daily is the best function to call, but anyway, that's what we've got. We're going to call time series daily. We can, I'm just going to copy that, and if up here, let's say print content metadata. I don't love that. Metadata is one word in the 20th century. And then so if I index this, I'm assuming that the time series daily is a list, and that's a bad assumption. In the metadata property of the response is this. Interesting, they put these numbers in the keys. So these are the keys. This is the first key, one.information, and this is the value. This is, I guess, describing what the data looks like. 2.symbol, IBM, which is what we're passing in the query string here. 3, last refreshed. 4, output size. 5, time zone. Don't really care about any of that. I mean, this part might be useful if I was trying to do something in a automated way, but this is, I need to code against the data that comes out of the response, regardless of the metadata. The metadata is only helping me to develop it. It won't help me when I go to run it. So let's say time series equals, and we'll get that. And then let's print the time series keys. There's the keys. Okay, so the keys are just the dates. So if we begin to think of what the data here looks like, there's a response, and inside the response there's the metadata, as they refer to it, and then there's the time series daily, and then inside that there is 2020 6/16, you know, ... for how many days are there here? Oops. There are 100 days worth of data. And then in each of these days, I'm going to guess that it's that thing that we saw in the metadata, some of the price values and then the volume. To access an individual day, we will use the same dictionary indexing syntax. And let's print that. There you go. So that is the data for the 16th of June, which is yesterday, let's say, most recent day. And if I'm looking at what stock prices are, I'm normally going to look at the closing value. That's normally what that's what they show on the news at the end of the day. That's intraday values are relevant but less exciting. So for everything in my content, I want to retrieve the closing values. Let's say time series daily. So for time series, oops, we already have all that. Let's just do this. So for time series dot keys, and we'll say day for day in time series keys. We index. Now what we're doing here, this is a what they call a list comprehension. It will essentially iterates through a collection, and it's a map from some source set of objects in an iteration through to some target value. And in this case, for day in time series keys means for each of these values, which are the days in the set of keys, provide this. Currently, for each day value, provide the day, but what I actually want is to index into the time series for each day, and then I want to get the close value. Using these weird strings as keys is not the best because it's case sensitive and it's error prone. But let's make it a tuple like that. So for each day, I want to retrieve a tuple of the day value and then the closing price. Let's see if that worked. Oops, I'll just comment this out as well. Hey, what do you know? So on March the 2nd, the price of IBM was $134. Now, what if we try and let's look at Snapchat. Everyone loves Snapchat. I get an error, and I know why I'm getting an error. It's because well, let's not do that. Let's just look at what we get. It's because we're using this demo API key. I got a 200, so the status code is correct, but I guess the payload will tell me that, here we go, this is what the API call gave back, a 200 error, which is an OK. And then it says information, the API key is for demo purposes. Claim your free API key at this URL to explore the API offerings. It takes fewer than 20 seconds, and we're going to make it free forever. It's pretty good. I mean, I haven't used it before today, but it seems pretty good. It was very easy to sign up. It probably does take 20 seconds. If I was building this API, would I put a 200 error? No, I would put a 300 and or 400 and whatever the unauthorized status code is, because this means that the user is not authorized to get this resource. But everyone will design their API their own way. How are we going to fix it? Well, I have an API key. What I'm going to do is put it into an environment variable and read it into my program, and then we can call the API correctly. So let me go and find it. I'm not going to show it to you. I'm going to show you how to add an environment variable to your environment without showing it on the screen. This command here, read, will read something from input into a variable. This is the name of my variable. And the -s, it means silent. Or maybe it means secret, but I think it means silent. It means don't show the key commands or the buffer that is being pasted into the input. If I run this, I'm going to press paste. You can't see what I pasted. You'll have to trust me that my API key is there. Let's confirm that it's there. And again, I'm not going to show it to you, so let's look at. I'm pretty sure that the right way to get an environment variable is by os.getEnv API key is like this. And in Python, luckily, we now have this f-string concept where I can pass operators, functions, variables, etc. into a string, and they just get rendered. So in this case, the value that I'm trying to put into the string is os.getEnv of API key. Let's do this. This will be nicer if we say API key equals os.getEnv API key, and let's also do this code equals snap, and then code, and then API key. Let's see if it works. Hey, there we go. So I successfully called the API using the snap code and my own API key that I pasted as an environment variable. How do I know that I did? Well, it's not Amazon anymore, because, or was it IBM? Whatever I was checking before, because those values were $100 and something, and Snapchat is kind of stuck in the teens. So if I was going to use this code as something more meaningful other than just a demo, I'd need to check the status codes or the responses that come back from this API. The API isn't giving me what I would want from a status code, but it's easy to check the values. We saw here that if I don't have a valid API key, then there is no time series content in the response, just a message that says, hey, your API key is bad. And I assume that if we put a bad code in here, nonsense code, then it'll also blow up. And because that's not there, invalid API call. So anyway, status 200, no one writes perfect APIs. We deal with it. And I think that's it. That concludes this demo of calling an API. Hopefully you learned something about the terminal multiplier tmux, how to have two panes of development, how to call an API in Python, how to get an environment variable in and out, and that's about it. All the best.